Bradford City continue their 2025-26 League One campaign with an away clash against Nigel Clough's at Mansfield Town, and in today's video you're going to find out how both teams have got on so far this season, what my starting level would be for this game if I was Graham Alexander. If we have a look then at the current League One table, my team Bradford City, we currently sit 3rd position. After 22 matches we've got 12 wins, 7 draws and 3 defeats, scoring 32 goals and also conceding 21, which leaves us on a positive 11 goal difference and 43 points. Our last couple of matches then have been a win, a loss, a win and a win. It was an incredible 2025 for Bradford City. Hopefully we can make it an even better 2026. But recently then we had a 1-0 win at home to Port Vale. Not the prettiest performance in the world, certainly was more of a battle than the high pressing intensity that we've been and kind of come to expect from a Graham Alexander side, but Jensen Metcalf scoring his first Bradford City goal with an absolutely outstanding strike. Another assist for Max Power. There was lots of elbows and limbs flailing around from the Port Vale attackers, and pretty much all of our centre halves have got cuts or bruises or swollen eyes, black eyes, all that sort of stuff. Our centre half certainly got beaten up, but we got through it. Another clean sheet is also a big positive. We also had a 2-1 win at home to Wigan. They got a couple of red cards in this one and didn't really threaten our goal all too much. We managed to get through the game in the end with a 90th minute winner from Joe Wright, but like I say, 2 red cards in that game certainly helped us to be able to see that one out after that. We also had a 2-1 defeat away at Leyton Orient. Really good first 15-20 minutes or so, but then after we got the goal, after their tactical change really on the 32nd minute, we really struggled after that, and it's against a Leyton Orient side that have underwhelmed for the large part so far this campaign. So even looking back on it now, it was a disappointing result. We had some really good chances to win this game. The defending for both of their goals was really poor from our point of view, but thankfully in the games after that we have obviously tightened up a little bit. We also had a 2-0 win at home to Reading. Again, not the prettiest performance in the world, but again they didn't really threaten our goal all too much. Anthony Sarsvig and Bobby Poynton both have found themselves on the score sheet, once again proving how important they are in a Bradford City shirt. And we also had a 1-0 win away at Plymouth. Anthony Sarswick scoring the only goal of the game in that one against his former club from the penalty spot. After this game they went and won 3 league games on the bounce, so evidently Plymouth are not a bad side and this is a good result on the road for us. Compared though to Mansfield Town, they currently sit 11th in the League One table. After 22 matches they've got 8 wins, 5 draws and 9 defeats, scoring 28 goals and also conceding at 28, which leaves them on a 0 goal difference and at 29 points. Their last couple of matches then have been a win, a loss, a draw and a loss. Now Mansfield are a very streaky side. They'll go on a winless run for 5 or 6 games and then they'll go on a winning or an unbeaten run for 5 or 6 games, and that does concern me, as we'll come on to right now. In their most recent match they had a 1-0 win away at Bolton Wanderers, the first team I think to beat Bolton at their place so far this campaign. Rhys Oates scoring the only goal of the game. He seems to have been able to keep himself fit for the large part of this campaign, and he has scored a few important goals. As you would expect, the stats are largely dominated by Bolton Wanderers, but that is a massive 3 points for an injury hit Mansfield side. They also had a 3-2 win away at Barnsley, 2-0 down after 13 minutes. Things could have certainly looked very bleak, but on another day this finishes 4-2 because I think Mansfield have a stonewall penalty denied in that first half and they managed to get through. Yes, Barnsley are awful defensively, but if you look at the Mansfield starting 11, with all due respect, this Barnsley team, especially with their attackers, should be able to beat this Mansfield side. They're having to play the likes of McLaughlin in attacking midfield at the moment. They also had a 2-1 defeat at home to Stockport County. The first goal that Stockport scored I don't think should have stood. I'm pretty sure there was a foul on Blake Tracy, I want to say, in the build-up, so Mansfield will feel a little bit aggrieved not to have got more out of that game. They also had a 0-0 draw away at Wimbledon. I think Nigel Clough described this game as both teams just wanting to stop the rot, and it did. It wasn't an entertaining game whatsoever, but Mansfield, with them being the away side, point on the board, clean sheet, I think they will be relatively pleased with that one. And they also had a 1-0 defeat at home to Bolton. Obviously Rhys Oates sent off for some serious foul play in that one. Ossie 2-2 scoring the only goal of the game. As you would expect, the stats were largely dominated by Bolton, given that Mansfield had 10 men for the majority of the game, but they're not a bad side. They've certainly got some threats in their team, especially if they're getting a couple of players back from injury, so this is going to be a real tough game for Bradford City. Before we do go any further though with today's video, please make sure to drop drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. For the final time in 2025, can we try and hit 150 likes on today's video? That would be massively appreciated, and don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below your score prediction for this match. What would your starting 11 be as well? We know there's going to be a couple of changes. I'm back in Bradford City for a 1-1 draw. In terms of my team then for this game, I would stick with the 3-4-2-1 formation. It's clearly worked for us over the last couple of weeks. We won 5 of our last 6 league matches, so why would you look to change things now? In goal for me, I would go with Sam Walker. Great to see him keep another clean sheet against Port Vale. Didn't really have much to do, and I'm pretty sure he kept the most amount of clean sheets out of any goalkeeper in the top 4 divisions with 20 throughout 2025. So fair play to Sam Walker, obviously across 2 different divisions as well. We weren't really keeping clean sheets at the beginning of the campaign. We certainly are doing now, and Sam Walker deserves a lot of credit for that. In terms of my back 3, there's certainly going to be a few players patched up for this game, but at right centre back I would go with Brad Halliday. Now, as we know, Matt Pennington I don't think will still be available for this. He still might be back for the Rotherham game on the 10th of January, somewhere around that. Obviously Aidan Baldwin was meant to play against Port Vale on Monday, whatever day the Port Vale game was, and obviously pulled out during the warm-up. So I think your next best option then to play right centre-back is Brad Halliday, in my opinion. Obviously Joe Wright, technically, and just his pace, you don't really want him in the wide areas. You would much rather have him in the middle. Neil Byrne I don't think he's good enough, and all your other centre-backs are left-footed. So when you haven't got Baldwin or Pennington, I think Brad Halliday should be the starting right centre-back. He's obviously played exceptionally well recently at right wing-back, but he's more than capable of playing in that position, especially when Mansfield don't really have the most physical of strikers. They're good players, they're more all-round rather than big Ollie Hawkins types that they've had in years gone by. As my central centre-back, I would go with Joe Wright. Again, looking at the options that we've got, the likes of Curtis Till, obviously, came back in on Monday and got the full game under his belt, but that's the first time he's played in nearly 4 months for Bradford City, so I think it would be wise to then bring him out for this game and maybe put him back in against his former club in Blackpool. But Joe Wright did a solid job against Port Vale, and I would like to see him keep his place in the side. And at left centre-back, I would go with Tom McIntyre. Again, resting rotations. Don't really want to be playing Curtis Hill, as I've just explained. Kieran Kelly, he's had to play the last 2 matches. Obviously was meant to be on the bench against Port Vale, but had to come in for the injured Aidan Baldwin. So I would like to see Tom McIntyre get an opportunity. I could certainly understand why Alexander opted with Kelly over McIntyre in the last 2 games, because they were physical, big boot and run sides, but Mansfield can certainly get the ball on the deck and play, and we need a centre-back who's got the passing ability. With no Baldwin in the side, we need Tom McIntyre in this team, in my opinion. In terms of my midfield 4 then, at right wing back, I would go with Josh Nerfil. Obviously with Brad Halliday, in my opinion, playing right centre-back for this game, that does mean Nerfil would come back into his position. It's been quite a while since we've seen Nerfil play. I don't think he's started a game for us since Plymouth away, so he's only started 1 league game for us in the month of December. But with Halliday having to go right centre-back, it gives Nerfil an opportunity to really stake a claim to get his place back into this side, because Halliday has played really well recently and played really well again against Port Vale. In terms of my 2 central midfielders, firstly I would go with the captain, Max Power. I thought he had a decent-ish game against Port Vale, in all honesty, and as we know, he's now up to 9 yellow cards. Looking ahead to our fixtures, I would like him to get booked in this game. I'd much rather him miss Blackpool and Rotherham rather than Cardiff, Huddersfield, Lincoln. That is going to come after that, so I'm really hoping that Power does pick up a booking. He is obviously going to pick up another booking between now and game week 37, but I think it's a big gamble. I would much rather lose him, like I say, for those 2 games than that 3 in a row of Cardiff, then Huddersfield, then Lincoln. That could be season defining for us, and we need his captain available for that one. Partnering him in the midfield, I would go with Jensen Metcalf. I would normally like to see rotation, especially given how many games that we're playing, but Metcalf is playing so well that I feel like resting him, because it wouldn't be dropping, it would be resting him, would be the wrong decision at this moment in time. He's a young lad at 21, 22 years of age, so he should be more than capable to be playing Saturday, Tuesday, I guess technically. Obviously we are literally playing every 3 days at this moment in time. He might not be able to play the Blackpool game if you do play him in this one, but he's been outstanding throughout every game in December, probably man of the match. Obviously got his first goal as well on Monday, great finish, and I think he has been brilliant recently. And completing my midfield 4 then, at left wing back I would go with Ibu Toure. I was debating maybe resting Toure for this game and putting Tyreek Wright in, but given that obviously there's no Baldwin, Pennington, Till, Halliday, we don't really know what position he could be potentially playing. You've got obviously a bit of inexperience in the likes of Metcalf and Nerfel as well. I feel like we need experience in this type of game, so maybe you play Toure for this one. I know he probably then could play against Blackpool, but we do like to see changes and all that sort of stuff, so maybe Tyreek Wright plays against Blackpool. It's so hard to kind of pick which players you rest for what games and all that sort of stuff, but I would like to see Toure play this one. I thought he had a decent game again against Port Vale. He's just so solid, so consistent. Finally then, as my front three, firstly my right attacking midfielder, I would go with Anthony Sarcevic. I feel like against Port Vale and Wigan he wasn't really involved all too much, and I am a little bit cautious around starting Sars for this game given his injury history, and he's played 2 back-to-back full games as well, so I'm slightly concerned about that. But again, you look at the other options that we've got. Do you really want to be starting George Lapsley? I know it's against one of his former sides in Mansfield, but I think with Lapsley likely on his way out the door in January, do you really want to be starting him in a game like this? I think when Sars is available, he probably does have to play. And as my left attacking midfielder, I would go with Bobby Poynton. Now, at the moment, I'm a little bit unsure on Poynton's availability. Obviously, was struggling a little bit to train earlier on in the week, wasn't really kicking a ball whatsoever, so might not be available for this game. If that's the case, then obviously you keep Tyreek Wright in the side, but I think attacking midfield is certainly a position that we're going to be looking to improve, and I know there's a couple of deals close for players in at that position, so hopefully Poynton's available and can start. If not, then I guess you put Tyreek Wright in there. And complete my team, as my striker, I would go with Will Swan, and this is through no fault of Stephen Humphries. I think it's time that you give him a rest, and to see Will Swan start against his former club, I do think makes the most sense. Looking at the block of games that we've got, I think Swan will certainly have a point to prove, not just to the Mansfield fans, but also the Bradford City fans. He's not scored since the beginning of September in any competition after a great start to the season for Bradford City, so I would like to see him get an opportunity. I think Stephen Humphries recently has been playing very well, so I would like to see Swan get the start, but not because of Humphries playing poor whatsoever. I think he's been good, especially over the last 2 games, so Swan gets a start in this one for me, just to keep things fresh, keep rotating, all that sort of stuff. On the bench then for me, that would leave Joe Hilton, Neil Byrne, Curtis Till, Tyreek Wright, Alex Patterson, it looks likely he's on his way out the door, Stephen Humphries, and also Andy Cook. I think the writing is on the wall, certainly, for Patterson and Cook, if the likes of Lee and Kavanagh are getting picked ahead of them at this moment in time. The players currently unavailable are Aidan Baldwin, Matt Pennington, Lewis Richards, potentially Bobby Poynton, and also Nick Powell. I would like to get an injury update for those players when he's the likes of Richards and Pennington and even Baldwin, even Powell as well, I guess, going to be back available for Bradford City. So players who's out then through selection would be Kieran Kelly, who I thought first half was sloppy in possession and just kept clipping it down the line for no reason, but defensively throughout the game, to say he was kind of chucked in as a bit of a last minute plan, I thought Kelly had a really good game, so it's no fault of his own, but we don't need 2 left-footed centre-backs on the bench, and Curtis Till is ahead of him for me at this moment in time. Also missing out then would be Tommy Lee and Callum Kavanagh, who obviously at this moment in time are both being picked over Patterson and Cook, which I think is a very, very rogue call from Alexander. He usually is right, but I'm not sure he's right on this one. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well if you are new. Can we try and hit 150 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, and don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. Let me know down below your score prediction for this match. What would your starting 11 be as well? Would you make any changes? We know there is going to be changes, but what changes would you make from Monday's win against Port Vale? Thank you all for watching, and thank you all once again for your support throughout 2025. Obviously there was a rebrand of this channel halfway through the year, so thank you all very much to everybody who is continually subscribing, liking, commenting, hyping as well. That's a new thing which I don't really understand, but thank you all very much for your support. Have a happy new year, and let's hope 2026 is an even better one for Bradford City.